everyone, today my colleague Elizaveta and me, Maria, would like to talk about our analysis of San Francisco coffee house case. So, to start with, let us briefly describe the current situation of SFCH. First, opened in 2006 in Osijek, this place became a Croatian provider of authentic atmosphere of the American coffee house that was missing in the Croatian market. SFCH was so distinctive from its local competitors because of its offerings of different types of coffee and the novel for Croatia possibility of getting coffee to go. The business became a success and its operating profits had reached a satisfactory level. That is when its owners, Denis Tansek and Jasmina Pasek, started to think how they could make their coffee house the biggest and most successful one nationally and regionally. In order to understand whether Tansek and Pasek should choose between organic growth and franchising, we decided to create a comparison table. So, let's start with the organic growth. On the one hand, it can bring a higher profit margin that will solely go to its initial owners. It will be also easier to control the staff as they will be direct subordinates of the owners. On the other hand, despite lower initial costs, the ongoing costs will be higher. That means that the company will become too tightly dependent on future cash flows. This model will also cause some inconveniences for the owners who will be forced to travel a lot to different locations of the country or region, and the growth of the firm as well as its sales profit will be slow. Additionally, a big number of employees is required, that is an extra financial investment. So, let's take a look at franchising model. Despite being not a familiar way of doing business in Croatia, it promises a bright future there. Thanks to franchising, new openings to European integration takes place. Together with emerging Croatian market, it provides new opportunities for growing companies. They can expand their operations and let potential franchisees to be a part of the global community. This model is also characterized by lower risks because it's putting eggs in different baskets. Franchisers also enjoy the possibility of selling their business to people with local market knowledge and high motivation to succeed. However, Croatian market has an insufficient regulation. Franchising is solely mentioned in only one article of Croatian trade law with the absence of any sufficient subpoints. Additionally, there is a little market know-how. Franchising is a pretty inexperienced model which is need to be properly developed. Finally, franchising entails low economic development because it doesn't stimulate innovation and appearance of the new ideas. Having compared the organic growth and franchising scenarios, we came to the conclusion that SFCH should consider franchising because despite unfavorable market conditions, there is a possibility of future high growth in this sector according to the industry experts. This particular company may be interested in this model due to a high number of inquiries from potential franchisees and has already begun to arise. Additionally, Starbucks can be viewed as a prototype of SFCH. That is why Pasek and Tansek can follow the successful model of developing business, which implies franchising. So, if they choose franchising, what adjustments would they need to make for in the Croatian context? Due to the fact that Croatian trade law doesn't have specific parts considering franchising, which would ease the process for both franchisers and franchisees, the company should convince the government to expand the articles on the franchising agreement, as well as assert legal standards and parameters for its development. This will lead to the absence of barriers for franchising and will increase the number of potential business customers who want to implement this model for their companies. Besides, all companies that desire to become franchisors should keep in touch with Croatian Franchising Association. It should intensively inform businessmen about this profitable model and help them on each step of the franchising implementation. It would be also beneficial for the companies if Croatian Franchising Association invite franchise professionals from US, who will introduce new methods and efficient franchising steps to the market. The SFCH is an absolutely new cafe format for Croatia. That is why it's necessary to protect its intellectual property. To do so, we suggest the use of trademark. Trademark will allow the coffee house to exclusively use its brand name and market territory if other companies attempt to use it. Additionally, it will connect a brand with a level of quality on which they build its reputation. And now, my colleague Elizaveta will continue the presentation.
Thank you, Maria. So, if the company eventually sticks to franchising in Croatia, its main concern will be to find franchisees. they should develop some kind of its secret weapons to attract them. For instance, as the country has more than 1.5 million of Facebook users, which is almost half of the population of Croatia, it seems like a good advice for SFCH to concentrate its advertising efforts on this particular online channel in order to find franchisees. Using Facebook can create an incredibly valuable competitive advantage for the firm, as it would differentiate it from its competitors. Moreover, we have to take into account that the market is barely aware of the whole franchising system, and potential franchisees are likely to be very cautious and distrustful to the offers available on the market. Therefore, SFCH has to be very accurate in the financial information it is providing in its franchise agreement. It is especially important to clearly understand and show the realistic return on investment of potential franchisees. If return on total investment is high enough, this will be indeed a strong incentive for the franchisees. The company should also bring a detailed understanding of its customer profile that is based on data, not conjecture. In addition, they need to tailor their franchise programs like royalties, personal guarantees, and development rights to the type of franchisee the franchise is trying to attract. For instance, if they are trying to attract private equity or a large multi-unit operator to their system, they need to be realistic concerning personal guarantee, assignability, and non-compete issues. In summary, the franchisor needs to understand its target franchisee and provide a compelling financial analysis to attract and retain these franchisees. Why sell sizzle when you can sell the steak? We move to the next slide. When franchise is working in a full swing, company still has to think about the threat of local imitators and major coffee chains from overseas. How can it fight them all off? According to the current trends of consumer preferences in Croatia, international brands became the acquisition target of younger consumers, while older people tend to continue to seek out domestic brands. This factor makes the entire target audience of SFCH happy with this local brand offering American-style experience. However, what could be the added value that would differentiate SFCH from the others? The thing is that coffee drinking is one of the Croatia's favorite pastimes. It's generally done with friends or family at a cafe, which is the local neighborhood meeting place for most Croatians, much like the pub in Ireland. Locals have perfected the art of taking a coffee, as it is called, often making a single coffee last for hours. In general, Croatians share the mission of Starbucks, that appears to be mostly the experience not really about drinking coffee, but more about socializing. However, the opening of the first Starbucks in Croatia has been delayed indefinitely, and here are some reasons why. No matter what Starbucks conveys, if we simply take a look on a typical American coffee house, we will notice that most of the people are sitting alone and playing with their smartphones, reading or working. Indeed, the US coffee is less about being social than it's about having a boost to work harder. On the other hand, coffee in Croatia is a social function. In a typical Croatian cafe, all tables are occupied by more than one person and they look like they're really talking to each other. On the next slide, you will be able to see Starbucks cafe on the right and typical Croatian cafe on the left. Another reason is that Americans view a size of a coffee cup as a status symbol. The bigger the cup is, the more important you are. If your coffee cup is giant, you are so important, you have 1 billion things to do, and you can only do them by drinking all of this coffee. And now let's take a look on a traditional coffee cup in Croatia. Look how tiny it is. To summarize, SFCH should adjust to its local traditions while portraying an American coffee house image. This would make it a perfect local response to Starbucks and protect it from any competitors. So, to put it all in a nutshell, in our opinion, SFCH has all the potential to become a successful coffee house in Croatia. If, first of all, it implements constant innovation inside the cafe, for instance, seasonal flavors of coffee, appealing interior, constant music changes, and others. Secondly, if it provides its consumers with quality and service. For example, if they want to keep their client for a long time, they should make high-quality coffee and serve it in a special, cozy way. Additionally, the concept itself is innovative. It hasn't been seen in Croatian market before. It provides its customers with an authentic American atmosphere and let them fully enjoy this place as their home. Also, despite being an American-style coffee bar, it will continue to adapt to local consumers that will both satisfy young generation who are always seeking for something international and older people who tend to be loyal to local traditions. All these points together can bring SFCH the fame of being one of the most prodigious and distinctive coffee houses in Croatia. Thank you very much for your attention and have a nice day.